Hello guys, welcome back to my channel, and in this video we're going to go over the tier list update for the release of Evelyn and most importantly the Sundance buff. A lot of the changes we're going to see are because of Sundance, and it's quite tricky to rank a unit when their performance is basically tied to a specific ignition weapon. So let me know in the comments if you feel like some of the units I should maybe lower in rank, some of the units I might have to increase in rank. I don't know, let me know in the comments. I will evaluate all of those and test them again over the course of the next update. And we'll see if some units will be moved again. But yeah, these are the changes I made, and we're going to go through every single one of them over the course of this video. But first, let's start with the new unit. We have Evelyn. I give her high ranker in both the below 350 and above 350 deficit. The reason for that is that she is the best pure tank we have in the game. She can survive on her own. She provides some debuffs on the enemies. And yeah, she just draws aggro. So really, really valuable tank. She is no doubt the best tank in the game at the moment. And I'm not considering a unit like Sharon as a tank, for example. I give them the same ranking, but they do two completely different things. At first, I was like, okay, I should probably give Evelyn a lower rank than Sharon. But then I thought, no, but they do two different things. Like one is a tank, the other one is a support for your DPS or babysitter for your DPS. So completely different. They really don't have anything that they share except for the damage taken cap. But one can use it while being a tank. The other one, I mean, can use it to survive, but doesn't really provide any tankiness utility in terms of like you don't draw aggro as well because Sharon doesn't move when the fight starts. So that means the enemy can crash into your team, no issues, which is annoying. If Sharon actually moved first, then she would have been quite insane, but it's still fine. Like, she's not a tank, so it's totally okay. And that's also why I decided in the end to give Evelyn the same rank, because they do two different things, but they are both really exceptional. Now, Evelyn does not really bring your, well, I guess she does, like she brings your account to the next level, but only when you have enough supports and DPSs. If you're lacking the DPSs for the 5 teams, she won't do much for you. But when your account is already okay or set more or less, then Evelyn will improve it because she's extremely plug and play. You can place her in any team and she will improve the performance of that team almost without a doubt. So that's good, but she won't make a team on her own. She won't take a DPS and make them exceptional. She won't really do damage herself. Some people manage to get her to do damage, but it's quite annoying to do. And at that point, you have a very well invested account, most likely. So yeah, you should not pull for her if you're looking for a DPS or just when your account is still growing. She's not essential. But if you already have a solid account, then she will improve the performance overall very easily. Really, really good unit. But okay, enough about Evelyn. Let's go over the changes I made. The first one is that Gustang in the above 350 deficit got his rank reduced from irregular to regular arrow down. That's because since a few months, all the units they released, or most of them, were quite annoying to deal with for Gustang, and his survivability is a bit on the lower end, unless you again build a team to keep him alive. And his damage is a bit too slow because he has that annoying cooldown on the 60% max HP damage. So, I mean, all of that kind of lowered his value, even though he's still insane. You can make him work, and if you run Sharon with him, you fix most of the issues that he has. So that's good, but it feels less consistent than some of the other options at times. So I had to decrease his ranking. That does not make him a bad pick, like for new players or anything. No, he's still insane. It's just if you find yourself in a situation where he's a bit less consistent, that's because he is less consistent. So there is nothing much we can do about it. And yeah, that's it for Gustang, I'd say. Then we have some increases in rank due to Sundance, and I'm talking about Kaiser, actually both of them. But before I gave the same ranking to both Kaisers, when they were attack scaling units, then they kind of relied on each other. I kind of gave them the same ranking. But this time I had to make changes because the stuff that XSR Plus Kaiser provides is not valuable anymore for Kaiser, or at least not as much, because Sundance can make up for most of our damage anyway. So you don't really need the attack percent portion of it, even though it would still be buffed, but is not as essential. So SSR Plus Kaiser improves her ranking more than XSR plus Kaiser, mainly because she has some sort of survivability built in, which is not something that Sundance provides. And for that reason, SSR plus Kaiser got a higher ranking. I increased her ranking from, like, for the below 350 deficit, from S rank to ranker arrow down. And for the above 350, I increased the ranking from S arrow down to ranker arrow up. So as you can see, and that will be common on most of the Sundance units, they have a lower ranking below 350, and then they increase in the above 350. That's because Sundance is max HP percent damage, and when enemies have higher links, then they have more HP, you deal more damage, so the gap with the attack scaling DPS units will increase. At lower deficits, some attack scaling units will just one-shot enemies, and your max HP damage will feel less relevant. So that's why there is this discrepancy in the rankings, and you will see that for every single unit, or at least the ones that will use Sundance. Okay. So yeah, this is the change for Kaiser. I didn't want to give her higher than that, mainly because when you rely on Sundance, if you don't have really good survivability, for me, you don't deserve anything more than that. It's just too annoying to keep you alive. She's also mostly single target. I don't really feel like increasing her ranking. And for the other Kaiser, she went from S to S arrow up in the below 350. And then she went from, what was that, S arrow down, I believe. Let me double check. Yeah, S arrow down to ranker arrow down in the above 350. So again, similar reason, her damage output is great, but survivability is non-existent. Before we go over the other changes, I wanted to mention one unit that I did not change, that is Kun Mashini. I think she would easily deserve high ranker, but not because of Sundance. I think running Sundance on her doesn't really, like, it does work, doesn't feel logical, I think, because she already has a 7% max HP damage on basic attacks, but that is still not working as intended from what I could see. So I still decided to leave her ranking like this to highlight the fact that she is kind of bugged. If the 7% were to work correctly, she'd be high ranker, no doubt. She has AoE basic attacks that deal 7% max HP per hit. It's a lot. The additional 3% from Sundance wouldn't really change stuff, actually would make it worse, because with L you get the extra attack speed and survivability. With Sundance you only get 3% more per basic attack, which is a minor increase over the 7% she already has. So I didn't want to touch her rank yet. I first want to see when they actually fix her, but I don't know. So far she can work really well with Sundance, but she should already be higher if her base kit works. So I don't know. That's why I did not change her, but we'll see in the next updates. Then we have an interesting unit, which is Warion. So you will see her here, Red Mask Warion. I increased the ranking from A plus to ranker arrow down for the below 350, and I increased the ranking from A arrow up to ranker in the above 350. She is absolutely insane with Sundance. She struggles staying alive, so that's the main issue. You have to provide her good support to make her stay alive. But when she does, she has a lot of utility in her kit with silence, with stance, with active skill cooldown pause on the enemies, super valuable. So she's really a solid unit. She also has an attack speed increase that synergizes well with Sundance. So she's a great Sundance user. For that reason, I had to increase her ranking. I think she's now a very solid pick if you need a DPS that also has some sort of utility. She's not higher because you have to keep her alive. It's quite annoying to do. So that's the only reason. But if you have a way to keep her alive reliably, she definitely deserves more than Ranker from my point of view. Then what else? We have also the other warrior actually that I increased. She was A plus in the below 350 and she's now S rank. And for the above 350, she was A arrow up. Now she's S arrow up. So really good value as well. Not as good as Red Mask because Red Mask has all of those crowd controls and the active skill block that are, well, not active skill block, but active skill cooldown pause that I value a lot. Warrior has a swiftness increase, which is kind of comparable with the attack speed increase. It's a bit less, but that is provided also to teammates, which is really good. And the barrier part is kind of irrelevant. The energy when you kill the highest attack enemy is also quite nice, but I valued all of those less than what Red Masquarian provides. Still, you can run her with Sundance, her damage will be fine, but she's more, I would say, no, she's like less impactful than Red Masquarian, so that's why she's a bit lower. Then we have Golden Carp Jew, so Lopobia Jew. I gave her an actually quite high rank. She was A rank before for both the below 350 and above 350. And now for below 350, she is ranker arrow down. For above 350, I gave her ranker arrow up. That's mostly because she works really well with Sundance. Again, she has a lot of attack speed increases, but she also has decent survivability. So she won't have a lot of issues staying alive. She will still need support, but not as much. She's also ranged, not close range like Red Masquarian. So I decided to give her quite a good rank, I would say. She deals a ton of damage and she can also stay alive. So really, really solid buff thanks to Sundance. I think she's now a very like a unit that is worth pulling for and also upgrading to SSR Plus so that she can get the extra attack speed from the Revolution subnode. And she's also good in bossing, so that's quite helpful to do. Not in bossing in terms of damage, even though she deals decent damage, but also for her like supporting capabilities. Then other units I moved are, for example, Rachel, the collab Rachel. I give her a rank increase is not that high. It's like from A to AR up for the below 350. And then I think from, what was that? Let me double check because I have also the notes on the side. From A arrow down to A plus for the above 350. That's all because of Sundance, but it doesn't really synergize too well with her kit. I was also thinking if it made sense to increase her rank or not. I ended up doing it, but it is not really a great improvement, to be honest. Then we have Vivi. Vivi got a rank increase for the below 350 from S rank to S arrow up, or yeah, S arrow up. And then for the above 350, she went from, let me double check, A plus to ranker arrow down. The reason for this is that she also has somewhat okay survivability, not too insane, not as good as Ju, but she has a lot of attack speed increases, and she has a provoke in her kit and a clone that can distract enemies, so that's okay. She has an HP recovery block that is valuable, even though it's a single target, but it's still good. So I think she definitely deserves ranker, maybe even without the arrow down, but for now I decided to leave it there. It felt a bit more like correct to leave her with an arrow down. But okay, so that's it for Vivi. Then we also have some other minor units or minor changes. We have compressed rack. I moved him for the below 350 from A rank to A plus, and the same for the above 350. It was B arrow up, now is A plus. It's fine, is not an insane set on him, but it does have an attack speed increase, so it kind of works, but not a big fan. His base durability is kind of garbage. It can deal damage now, but doesn't feel that great. So yeah, that's one additional change. I also changed Getang and Mulov. Let's talk about Getang first. He went from B rank to A rank in the below 350, and then he went from C to A plus, mostly because of Sundance, and he has 120 attack speed increase in his kit. He has no survivability whatsoever. He is very, very single target. He's still okay. Felt fine to use, but a bit annoying to be honest. Is like okay, the damage from Sundance is good. It's just not not applicable in a lot of teams because you need to have the HP recovery block or enemies would easily heal it up. You need to have attack speed in your kit, which it does, and also a lot of the units that got the rank increase have. If you have AoE basic attacks, that's a plus because you're going to hit more enemies and deal more damage in the end. So there are a lot of factors to consider when increasing a rank of a unit because of Sundance. I felt like Gietang, yes, is a lot better than before. Still not worth using. I think it felt very annoying when I tried him out. New Love, even though he has less attack speed increase than Gietang and a similar kit, he felt a bit better. Not 100% sure why. Maybe because of his passive that buffs his basic attacks a bit at times. Maybe that's the reason, but he felt better than Gietang, so he got a higher rank increase, even though he was kind of at the same level. He went from A rank to A plus in the below 350, and in above 350, he went from, let me double check, from B to A plus arrow up. So yeah, quite a good increase, but not really like too insane. I mean, he is a good unit, not comparable to Ju, but he's a good unit. Then we have Kun Hatzling. He got his rank increase. Where is he? Should be okay. He's here. He got his rank increase from B to A for the below 350, and then from C to A plus in the above 350. Very similar to Gietang. He also doesn't feel too good. His base durability is a bit better than Gietang, but he's still mostly single target. He has a lot of attack speed increase from his revolution, but not too comfortable to use. I think Kaiser is way, way better, so I'd rather not invest on Kun Hatzling. But it can work, you can use it. Is not worthless anymore. Then we have Verdi. She got a very minor increase. She only made it up to B and BR up for the below 350 and above 350 deficits, mainly because she is mostly stuck in animations, so she's not really going to leverage her basic attacks. It's still okay, but not really comparable to VV or any of the other options. Then we also have some interesting picks like Paracule. You might have seen him now. It went from D arrow down, both in the below 350 and above 350 deficit, to B rank in below 350 and A rank in above 350. He only has attack speed increase, but he is basically the representation of what Sundance can be on a unit that basically does nothing. You can still use that unit, and he does decent damage. And that's kind of stupid, but yeah. Paracule is now in a high spot in the tier list. I would have never expected it. I still gave him a lower rank than White. Did I already talk about White? I don't think I did, but we're going to mention White in a second because I also moved down some units. So yeah, Paracule can now deal damage thanks to Sundance. But that's it. Mostly single target. He has a minor attack speed buff, and that's it. It does nothing. So if you want to use him, it's going to be more for the meme than anything. He works, he can clear, he's just weird. So yeah, up to you. We also have a couple of units that got a rank increase that are Amigo charts. He has a 120 attack speed increase, really good, and it makes him deal damage, but he's a close range unit with no survivability, no utility whatsoever. So it feels off. It's even more meme than Parakill, to be honest, but it can do stuff. I also increased the ranking of Edin from D to C, mainly because it can also run Sundance now. So ability is somewhat, it's still garbage, but at least he has a lot of evasion. And he focuses on swiftness. He has some swiftness increases, so he has a bit more attack speed as well. Not the worst, but definitely not worth thinking about. I still wanted to move him up from D. It didn't make a lot of sense to leave him there. Now that Sundance can at least do something. And that's kind of it, I think, for the Sundance users, but we'll see. We'll see in a second, because I also have the other section. Like, I went through the units that received the buff in the below 350, and while I was at that, I also covered the above 350. But I have another section where I only increase the ranking or decrease the ranking in the above 350. So now let's quickly look at that as well. I decrease the ranking of Hell Joe from ranker arrow up to ranker for the above 350. That's mainly to highlight the fact that some units now with Sundance can be better than him. So, for example, a Jew with Sundance at high deficits is more, like, deals more damage than a Hell Joe. Maybe not immediately at like 350, 400. Maybe when you get to 600, 700 deficit, then Jew out damages Hell Joe like crazy, and she has good survivability, so that's okay. I will never decrease Eljo ranking too much because he has swiftness decrease and HP recovery block in his kit, so that's already insanely valuable. I decreased the ranking of Dawon as well from ranker to ranker arrow down, because, like, mainly for the same reason as Eljo. Now some units with Sundance can outdamage her quite easily the higher the deficit it gets. Then we also have White. I decrease his ranking from S to A+. This guy, when the deficit gets high, has no damage whatsoever. Crazy annoying to keep alive. Too much time spent on animations. That's also why he didn't keep his ranking, even though he can run Sundance, but he does not use enough basic attacks to justify it. He's going to be stuck in animations a lot. So yeah, maybe on an energy decrease floor, you can run a Sundance White, and that would be okay. But in normal floors, it kind of sucks. It kind of does. It's really weak. I also did not change the ranking of Viol. He can use Sundance, and he has okay survivability on his own. Just doesn't feel good enough. I tried him a bit. He's okay. Definitely deserves the A plus rank now. Maybe we could get him up to S if more useful support units for red come out for him. I don't know, but right now feels lacking. I will try more in the next update, but didn't feel good enough to increase him. At the very least, I did not decrease his ranking, let's say. Though now that I think about it, it kind of feels wrong that he's on the same level as White. I think he's way better than White now. So whatever, we'll see. I'll try more in the next update, and I probably will move him up. Or move this guy even more down to A rank. I don't know. But okay, that's enough about White. Let me see which other units I changed that I did not mention. Right, Acraptor. Acraptor I did not increase too much because it doesn't benefit from swiftness for the basic attacks. So I was like, okay, he has AoE basic attacks, but they're not too quick. It doesn't have any attack speed increase in his kit. I was like, yeah, I will just increase it from, I think it was B to A for the above 350, but that's about it. Because, okay, it does some extra damage, still doesn't feel good. So yeah, that's the most I could give him. And after Acraptor, I think we already covered everyone else. Getang, Hatzling, Verdi, Amigo, Chart, Adin, and Parakill. Yeah. Okay, those were all the changes, guys. Let me know in the comments how you feel about that. And you can always look at the changelog tab here in my website to see exactly which units I moved. I always write them down there, and that's also what I was reading while recording the video. So if you don't want to watch the whole video or it's a bit confusing for you, feel free to check out the changelog instead. and you can have a better idea of what it moved. So yeah, thanks so much for watching, guys. I will see you in the next one. Bye.